Bass players, are you ready? All right, once again, we've created 6 more for you guys who are wanting to play a little bit more gospel. And don't worry, if you're new to gospel music, just like I've done in all the other packs. And by the way, if you're not hip to these gospel jam packs that I'm creating for the bass community, you need to know about them now. I've been making these gospel packs for guys that want to learn more about gospel music, who want to improve their playing, who want to learn more about the genre. Maybe you're not going to ever step foot inside of a church, but you want to know about that gospel sound. You want to know a little bit and have a better understanding about how we do what we do. So this time I've created more tracks for you guys to work out to. I brought in professional musicians to help me create this sound. So these tracks come alive when you're playing them. You feel like you're right there on the stage playing with a full band. So you're gonna get the real feel of what cats would do in this type setting. And don't worry, it's not super complicated. There are basically 2 sections to the songs. There's an A section and there's a B section. It's about a minute or a minute and 30 seconds long, and you're gonna loop that and just have fun and rock out. And don't worry, these tracks are completely royalty free, so you can use them on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, wherever your place of choice to post your videos. Or if you're a person who just wants to learn in secret, that's cool. I got something for you too. So you don't have to worry about trying to figure out all of this stuff on your own. When you listen to these tracks, they're banging, but you don't have to figure out all of this stuff by yourself. I am including the sheet music and tab for you guys who read, or for you guys who read tab and you want to know what I'm doing. So there's an MP3 that includes my bass take, so you get a real idea of what to play around this track, and you're not just out there fishing for ideas. Although it's wide open for you to do whatever you want to do on it. Not only that, as I've done with all of the bass jam packs, I'm going as far as to show you exactly. We're going to break it down. I've created instructionals for all 6 songs. So we're going to go through, I'm going to break down what it is I'm playing, the licks, all of it, the whole 9, you get it all, and I'm going to show it to you. I'm going to break it down. We're not going to take forever with it either. We're going to get to the good part so you can get to practicing and get to having fun on this stuff. So I invite you to check out the Straight Gospel Bass Jam Pack Volume 2. You're going to love it. Let's go. Good morning, folks. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Grooves and Motivation Live. I'm Jermaine Morgan again. Happy to be with you. I'm excited today. I don't know why. I feel good. I'm excited. Might be because I got on a yellow shirt. I don't know. How y'all doing? Welcome to everybody that's watching me this morning. Be sure to drop in the chat where you're watching from. You know, I love to see that. I love to see where you guys are tuning in from around the world. Oh, real quick before I forget. So I wanted to shout out this company that gave me this. Well, I purchased this shirt from this cool company called the Give More brand. It's actually some friends of mine that started this brand, and you can check this out, thegivemorebrand.com. Some really cool shirts with a really good message of give more. It's just a simple message, give more, right? So just wanted to shout them out before I forgot. Zimbabwe, Washington, good morning to you. Thank you for joining me this morning. I really, really appreciate it. Zimbabwe, Bishop Tudor Bismarck. I would say he's a good friend of mine. I know him. I'm not going to act like we got a real strong relationship, but I do know him. He knows me. He's heard my music. So I do know Bishop Tudor from over in Zimbabwe. So that's cool, man. DJ, good morning to you, man. Arthur, Texas, Port Arthur, Texas. Thank you for joining me. Steven, good morning to you, man. And anybody else that's joining in, listen, I'm about to kick this groove off and get things going. You can keep dropping in the chat where you're watching from. We're gonna keep it churchy. Keep it churchy this morning. Louisville, what's up, Corey? Good morning to you, man. Let's see if I can jump into this groove. Here we go. And let me know if y'all can actually hear the groove, not my bass, but the groove. I didn't realize last week I was out there by myself and you didn't hear any track. So y'all got to tell me about this stuff because I could hear it in my ears, but I didn't know that you guys wasn't hearing it there. I've did my sound checks this morning, and I think I'm good to go. But technology it'll send you for a loop every now and again. Isaac, good morning to you, man. Top of God's morning to you. I'm logging in from Georgia. All right, come on here. Music for Jesus. Good morning to you. All right, so I'm gonna play this track, and I need some thumbs up that you can actually hear it. I don't want to be out here sounding like I'm soloing to nothing. So, y'all be sure to let me know if you can hear the track. All right, here we go. Billy, what's up, man? Henry, what's up, Donnie? Can y'all hear this? Can y'all hear the track? Burton from South Africa. All is well, man. Thank you. You can hear the track. Just making sure you can hear the track. All right, sweet. I wanted to know before I started playing. Thank y'all. Got you. How is that? Morning. So we got Dalton in here. Charles, good morning, Charles. He said, I'm ready to pass out some church bulletins. Get in the groove. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good morning, everybody. A little more bass, please. I'm trying to make sure I don't distort. How about that? Morning, Tiffany. All right, I'm trying to adjust the sound to make sure y'all can hear good. sure to let me know where you're watching from in the comments this morning. I think I spoke to everybody already. Just in case I hadn't, be sure to let me know. Anthony, good morning to you, man. Isaac, good morning to you, if I hadn't spoke already. That El Bajo, if I'm saying that correctly. Good morning to you. Mark, good morning to you, man. Dayton, Ohio is in the building. Canada in the house. Right, Anthony? Donnie, that's a really good question. I'm gonna come back to that question. I think that's a good topic. I'm not gonna talk completely about that today, but that's a really good question about, does the Fender motivate you to play more pocket and less licks? If so, why? I think that's a really good question. I'm gonna come back to it.
trying to remember. That's it. Couldn't remember. just a few things about quartet. I see a lot of comments about the gospel quartet stuff that I'm playing. People kind of sleep on that genre of music, and it's like extreme discipline to play gospel quartet consistently. It does force you to be more of a pocket player, depending on which quartet you're playing. You're playing some Williams singer stuff, it might be a little bit different. You get a little bit more room. But the majority of the gospel quartet stuff that you play is going to require you to be very, very disciplined. I'm going to go back to a question that I was asked by Dunny earlier. First off, let me make sure I spoke to everybody. Devin, good morning to you, man. Let me see here, make sure I spoke to everybody. Alexander, good morning to you. Tiffany said, these comments are my favorite. Sounds good. Thank you. Bo Kang, if I'm saying that right. All right. I'll probably just mess your name up. I said it right the first time. I'm sure I messed it up. No, this is not necessarily a new bass, Effie. I played this bass. Well, it's kind of new. I played this bass, depending on when you came. I introduced it a couple of months ago. It's a bass that I did from a review from Sweetwater. I'll turn this down just a little bit. Chris Hall. Okay, the Quartet Drive. Nice. Good morning. Good morning to you, man. Edwin, good morning to you. Detroit in the building. Jose says, bravo. Corey said, I love your new straps. Do you play higher on straps? Hold on. Do you play higher on straps when standing opposed to when sitting? Standing seems awkward to me at times. Well, I'm normally angling my bass more when I stand. It's more like this. My standing position, my right arm is a little bit more relaxed. Just me personally, that's kind of worked out to be a little bit more comfortable for me. And both my arms are pretty relaxed when I'm playing standing. And you see the bend kind of when I'm sitting down. It's not really bothering me personally. I've heard people talk about it, but it didn't really bother me a lot when I'm playing like this. But most of the time, if I'm standing, when I'm standing, I'm playing, and it's more of this position, just naturally. I angle my neck up a little bit more. You probably, obviously, you see it in the logo. That's normally my standing position. It doesn't go up that high as it is in the logo. I think I was tuning when we took that picture. But generally, it's somewhere around that neighborhood how I hold my bass. So my right arm is normally pretty relaxed. But the strap, I don't adjust the strap. You know, so and I appreciate it. So if y'all are interested in the strap, sidebar, these are available on my website. Just go to my shop page and you can find the JM signature straps. And I appreciate that, Corey. Anthony Robinson says playing quartet is a good way to work out your fingers. You are absolutely right. Like when I was doing that drive just now, like that's some extreme. To play it consistently and stay in lock with everything, it takes some discipline to do that. And that's a good way to work through some discipline if you're trying to work through some exercises, because this is not your typical like straight beat. It has a slight swing to it. So trying to lock with that can be difficult, and you have to kind of, discipline yourself to do that. Because notice I'm kind of keeping that rhythm, that drum rhythm in my right hand as I'm playing that, as well as kind of playing the line. So it does take some discipline. I think oftentimes people can underestimate the difficulty level of music based on the simplicity of how it sounds. Like, they don't sound like they're doing a lot. But when you sit down and you try to play that stuff, or trying to play like a quartet ballad where it's like moving really slow and there's not a lot of stuff happening, and being able to stay in that pocket that entire time, that can become difficult for some people. Anthony, good morning to you, man. If I hadn't already spoke, amen, Charles. Now we're handling the church. We're handing out church fans. I definitely need a fan. I'm getting hot in here. My air is on, but I'm getting hot. Good morning, Jermaine. TGIT. Thank God it's Tuesday. Absolutely, Andrew, man. Glad to have you here. Let's Was that Bailey? Good morning to you. Said you have that exact bass. A lot of people are getting this bass. Cody, is your new favorite? Is this your new favorite bass? It's cool. I'm enjoying it. I mean, of course, when you get something new, you tend to gravitate more towards it. And I'm going to get to the question, Donnie, before I get too far into these comments. I got 2 more to read, and I'm going to get to your question. Well, 3 more to read. Get to your comment. Nashville is in the house. Japan is in the house. Thank you for watching. Morning, Tamaracio. I'm butchering that. Give me a minute. Let me get myself together. Tamarcio. Is that it? Am I saying that right? Tamarcio? Sorry about that. Jackson, Mississippi. All right, you from my neck of the woods. My original neck of the woods. Houston, Mississippi. Good morning, Flickerman. All right, so let me go back to Donnie's question. Donnie asked a really good question. I'll come back to this groove. I'm going to pull it down for now just so I can answer Donnie's question. All right, so Donnie asked a question earlier. He says, does the Fender motivate you to play more pocket and less licks? If so, why? Well, I got a couple of answers to that question. Number one, yes, it does. But for me, coming from like a quartet background, the stuff that I played, you'd be shocked to know that I grew up playing like less. I didn't grow up playing a lot of licks and that kind of stuff. From the culture that I grew up in, it was more so less is more, for sure, that type of culture. So I actually struggled when I started trying to play licks and incorporate them into the groove, because that was something that was difficult for me to do. Not because I couldn't hear them, but because we had been told so long. Well, let me rephrase that. When I was pulled on to play more aggressively, it was something that was kind of difficult for me to do, because for so long you had been in those environments that was telling you, no, don't add anything to the groove. Just keep it right there. You know, like, this is it. That's the role of the bass player. We don't want anything else other than that, you know, of course, depending on the song. But normally there's a lot less stuff happening on bass. So all that background, I came up in a culture where you learn how to play foundation first. I didn't learn to play all the licks first. Like, I started on guitar, but when I learned to play bass, I learned how to play foundation, the bass line. I didn't play a whole bunch of licks and stuff like that until later. And so for me, it personally, it doesn't matter what bass I'm on. I think the other answer to that question is, if I'm by myself and I'm not playing in the context of a band, of course, if I'm on a bass that's easier to play and I'm by myself, I'm going to play a lot more to fill up the empty space that's missing. So I'll play according to what's missing. Like, a lot of times in these lives, it's just me by myself, so you might hear me doing a lot. Whereas you were to come to a church service or come and hear me playing with a full band, you're probably going to hear less stuff. No matter what bass I'm on, I played my 6-string and probably played less licks and that kind of stuff in a full context of a band, because there's more people around and I'm always listening as a producer, as a musician, trying to be a good musician, just listening. I'm listening to everybody around me. I'll get in where I fit in, but for the most part, I'm kind of holding back and being aware of my surroundings, and I'll come out and play according to what's happening around me. But yeah, the Fender makes me work a lot harder because of the action of the bass. It's to me, the string spacing is a little wider, whereas my Warrior bass and other custom basses that I play, it's a little bit more comfortable. I can float around the fretboard a little more freely. So I say all of that with regards to, if a person is new to bass, of course, they might have the tendency to do more with more strings because they feel pressured to. It's more there. It's more to work with. Even with the fretboard, it's more real estate. You got, 21 frets on this Fender bass, as opposed to the Warrior where I have 24 frets. You got more ground to cover. So a person might, in their mind, subconsciously feel like they have to do more playing. So I think just in general, a person typically lends themselves to want to do a little bit more when they're on like custom basses or basses that have more strings or something that's not more traditional, as opposed to playing a traditional bass. But I think as you mature and you become a professional player, you know how to adjust regardless of the bass you're on, because you'll be shocked the amount of sessions that I've played pocket on like that Warrior bass, and even my 6-string Warrior when I had it. I just be playing pocket, and that's it. It was not a whole bunch of licks. You listen to the record, you wouldn't hardly know it. You think I played something like a Fender based on the approach that I took. So, all of that stuff does factor in, but I think it has, Dunny, ultimately, I think it has to do with the maturity of the player. So that's my answer to, I know it's a long answer, but that's my answer to that question. But nonetheless, I think it's a really, really good question. And but it's that myth that people think I have to play Fender if I'm gonna be considered a professional, or if people are gonna take me seriously. Unfortunately, there is a thing that goes with that. If people see you with the Fender bass or that type or that style bass, there's a kind of perception that happens versus, I think I talked about this I did a couple of videos about six string bass, or 4 reasons why I play six string, something like that, video that I did. And I talked about the perception that people have when you're playing these different types of basses. When you come in with a more boutique looking instrument or something that's six strings or whatever, people kind of have a higher expectation for you. Or it might be, oh, he's finna come in here and solo over everything. You do get those things. So just know that comes with the territory. But at the end of the day, it comes down to the maturity of the player. So yeah, great question, Dunny. Great question. Let me go on down here. We're gonna kick this groove back off, but I wanted to make sure I addressed that question because that was a really good question. And Cody says, I think I answered that already. Is this your favorite bass? I see it a lot lately. Now, it's just working. It works for what it is I'm trying to do. I was going to get another Fender or something along that lines anyway for the stuff that I was doing. I've been doing a lot more. The videos that you guys have been seeing me posting, I've been doing a lot more of the gospel bass jams and that kind of thing. And on those videos, I'm showcasing more of the bass line. I'm not necessarily showcasing solo playing. So, and not to mention, for whatever reason, going back to, I post stuff on social media all the time. It seems like a simpler bass seems to get people's attention a lot faster than, depending on what you're doing. A simpler bass, if you're playing something like gospel or something like that, people are a little quicker to click on you playing a Fender bass than they will you playing like My Warrior or something like that. These are facts. I can play the exact same thing, but if I play it on a different bass, the click rate is different. And not to mention, Fender is just such a trusted brand, and so many people like the brand Fender. I think it's one of the things that people are naturally kind of gravitate towards because it's easy on the eye. It's easy to digest. It's easy to understand, so to speak. It's like, I know that bass. It's the same makeup for the most part. It's just a different color, maybe one extra string, but I know the look of that bass, and so I can relate. People can relate more to a Fender bass. So that's another reason why you see this a lot more on the videos. Now, all that being said, I have another bass that's coming, and you're going to see it a lot more. And I don't care what y'all, I don't care what you think. I like it, and I'm going to be playing it a lot. So, and it's a six string, so you're going to be seeing a lot more of that. All that stuff said, just know that it's on the way. And so you're going to see a lot more. And you're going to probably be asking, is that your favorite bass? I don't know yet. We'll see. But you're definitely going to be seeing a lot more of this other bass. And from time to time, I'm going to be swapping out. I'll be playing a lot of different stuff. So, but I appreciate the questions. You guys are asking some really good questions this morning. Flickerman says, normally I never make the live, but I'm glad I caught this. Good stuff, man. Glad you're here. Nikoi, good morning to you. Devin, should you play guitar before bass? I don't think it matters. I don't think there's a certain order. I played guitar before bass, and it wasn't like, hey, I'm going to learn the guitar first. It was a natural thing for me. The way I learned music was a lot different from most people. We got bad weather, so hopefully I don't get disconnected or none of that foolish stuff that happens. I'm in the country, so like, I thought you was in Atlanta. I'm outside of Atlanta. I'm in the country, so hopefully I don't get disconnected. But no, it shouldn't matter. And the way that I learned playing music, I had guitar players and stuff around me, like my uncles, my uncle and my dad and my brother was playing guitar as well. So I just kind of naturally gravitated towards guitar found a love for it, and later bass. I kind of fell in love with bass over time. So yeah, it's one of those things. I don't think it really matters. Um, how can you improve? How can I improve my lick placements? Listen to records, Nicole. That's the best thing I can tell you. Listen to records and listen to how they place their licks. I don't want to leave out any other genres, but gospel is a great example of that. When you listen to gospel records, and I'm not necessarily talking about quartet, I'm talking about more contemporary gospel. When you listen to contemporary gospel music, you hear great placement by the musicians that play that stuff. And they've studied and they've worked out in the music the best place to place a lot of the feels and stuff. So it's not that you're trying to reinvent the wheel, but you're listening to what's already been done, and it's like copy and paste. Not necessarily literally copying what they did, but if you can hear the context of how they use the line or the riff or whatever the case may be, it gives you excellent context of where to place this. So now when you get in a different song and you play something that's similar, it's like, oh, okay, well, this works because that kind of worked over there in that song. And gospel is not the only place, but you hear it more often, especially with nowadays popular music. You don't hear as much in popular music as you did when people like Stevie Wonder and all those people were creating music back in the day. You heard it a lot then, but nowadays, listening to modern gospel, you hear a lot of good bass placement. And sometimes you're like, whoa, that's a whole bunch of stuff, depending on the song you're listening to. So that's my answer to that, Nicole. I think just simply listening to the records and transcribing the records and taking what they done and applying it, and you'll get a good context that way. Richard Bryant, good morning to you. My first time player looking for my first stack. Having trouble narrowing down a head recommendation for wattage and headroom and speaker size and cabinet. It really depends on what you're going to be doing with it, the size of the room, all of that kind of stuff. As you see back here, I still have my TC Electronic. This rig, I done had it for a while. But this is a TC Electronic RH 750 watts. And then I got I don't remember how many watts those cabinets are, but I have four 12s. I have two 212 cabinets. And that pushes a lot of low end when I want to get, get loud or get low, whatever the case may be. But I got four 12s. But if you're in a small room, you could get away with like a little 500 watt and maybe two 10s or maybe two 12s, depending on the size of the room and what you're trying to do. If you're going to be running through house sound and they're going to mic you through the system anyway, you can get away with a little 500 watt. Depending on the room, you could get away with a little 400, 350 watt and just use your rig as a monitor. You don't need a lot. It all matters what you're trying to do. But if you're going to be gigging, doing a lot of stuff outside where it's going to require for you to really throw off some sound, then like something like 412s or 410s or something like that might be necessary so you can be heard when you're playing and you can also be felt, right? So that's my suggestion to you. You can go up as high as 1,000 watts or higher. Some of them go even higher than that. But it really matters what you're trying to do and the context that you're trying to use it in. Tiffany says, that's too bad. Just found an awesome bass in a different brand. Okay. I mean, I don't know what you're referring to, Tiffany. I haven't said a whole bunch of stuff at this point. But I mean, at the end of the day, it comes to what you like. That's why I'm saying it comes to the maturity of the player. You can play whatever you want, but just know sometimes there's a perception that comes with certain basses. If you can live with that perception, it's like when the thing is, at the end of the day, when you plug up and you play, people's opinion don't matter. Unless you are not doing the job, you're not doing what you've been hired to do. That's the time it matters. Or if you're in the studio session, in the room with a producer and they want a particular bass, nowadays is a little bit more rare unless you're on a more professional level. And I do get those calls where people do want a Fender or a Fender sound. But other than that, you can kind of play what you want. It's just a matter of, can you deliver on whatever instrument you're on? That's what it really comes down to. You being able to deliver whatever they put in your hand. If they put a fork with a bass string on it, can you deliver? You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna plug this fork up and I'm gonna play it, this broomstick or whatever the case may be, and you ain't gonna know what it is because it sounds good. And so that's all that matters at the end of the day. Of course, I'm being, facetious. I'm being extra, but for the most part, as long as you can deliver what the song is calling for, you're gonna be good. Donnie says, well, Andrew says, yes, sir, well overdue. Donnie says, I'm in the beginning stages. Should I play four string on the music to familiarize myself with the basics? That's up to you. You can do four or five. That's totally up to you. Because I know people who started on a four string and are now afraid to switch to five, or people who started on a five string and now are afraid to go down to four. I say if you got access to both, do both. Get you two little cheap four string basses. If you hadn't already bought a bass, I'm sorry, a little. Let me rephrase that. Not cheap, but inexpensive. Jermaine told me to go out and buy a cheap bass, so I blame him. No, inexpensive. If depending on your financial state, get you an inexpensive four string, inexpensive five string, and kind of work your way through them. See which one feels better to you. You might grow to like the four string more. You might grow to like the five string more, and then when you're ready to upgrade, you can go ahead and really invest some money into something that you feel more comfortable with. Because over time, you're gonna keep collecting basses. This is hard facts right here. You're gonna keep collecting basses, right? So Charles says you smile more when you play the Fender. Just saying. Oh man, I was just gonna say, Charles, you so biased, man. Charles has this exact bass. So all of that's biased. I'm smiling because I'm playing gospel. That's what I'm smiling about. I'm playing because that groove feel good, right? You go back, you'll find something where I'm smiling with that warrior. And I think it has a lot to do with the energy. It has a lot to do with the energy, how that music is making you feel. Sometimes music is, yeah, I don't have to get into that. Y'all know what it is. Charles being biased because he has this bass. That's one of my students. Round wound, flat wounds, and does it actually matter? Again, it comes to what you like. It comes to the sound you're going for, in my opinion. It all comes down to that. South Florida, yes, sir. TC Electronic 212 pushes about 600 watts. And they go, yeah, they get down. Yeah, Steven, they get down. Morning, y'all, from Texas. B.E. Wool, good morning to you. Been MIA for about 3 weeks. Glad to have you back. Glad to have you back. Impulse Music, good morning, bro. Greetings from the Virgin Islands. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Jamaica, y'all from all around the world in here this morning. I get what you're saying. As long as I can deliver, it's possible since I have such a good. Thank you so much. God bless you. Donnie, yes, sir. I'm missing all kind of comments this morning. BE Will, I have a 4 and 5 string, and whenever I switch, I have to give myself a day on it, or either my fingers will adjust. So my fingers will, I see what you're saying. You have to give yourself a day or so on it so your fingers will adjust. I can get that. Depends on what I'm doing. It really depends on what I'm doing. A lot of times as a session musician, I'm called on to do different things. And I don't really have a day to really adjust. It's like, all right, this song sounds like this, and this is what we want on this song. So, or this is the type of song, or even if I'm producing a song, this feels like an old school 70s kind of vibe. So I'll just, I'll grab that P bass back there and I'll roll off all them highs and I'll give me a nice 70s sound going. When I say 70s, I'm referring to like soul and like the old Al Green, that Curtis Mayfield type sound, that old, like just no highs whatsoever, sound like you have flat wounds on it. I can make it sound like it got flat wounds on it. So that kind of sound, yeah, that kind of sound is what I'll go for. And I don't really have a lot of time to adjust. You just got to get on it and play. But again, that comes with years of doing this and being comfortable with making the switch. Donnie said, yes, cheap. I have both though. I got you, man. I got you. So I'm just saying, I don't go out and buy a cheap bass and be mad at Jermaine Morgan, because, man, Jermaine said it was okay to get it. I say that, guys. You see me playing some expensive basses now, but we didn't have a lot of, You know, my mom them, I wasn't a trust fund kid, you know, so my mom them they bought what they could afford, and I played her bass forever until I bought my first bass when I was in college. I bought my first and it was a Fender. I paid $500 for it. I thought I'd done something, you know. I paid $500 for a bass, and it was a Fender Deluxe. That was my first bass that I owned, and it was my first real purchase. It was a Mexican Fender. It wasn't even an American, but it was still cool. It was cool. Yeah, so it's on you. It doesn't have to be a super expensive bass. The biggest thing is learn what you are doing. My brother and I, when we were learning years ago, we would see these people around us who would start learning, and they had all of the best gear. I mean, they had around there top notch stuff, and you know they didn't play so well. But we were working with what we had, the La Pawn Shop basses and the La Pawn Shop guitars, and we was making it happen. You know what I'm saying? So it matters the time and the effort and the energy that you put in on what you have to work with. I think Thaddeus Tribbett is a great example. When he was playing with Ty Tribbett, now that bass might be a Fender. I don't know what that bass. I don't know if it's a Fender or not. That black bass he was playing in the years way back in the day. I think it was a Squier though. I think it was a Squier. I could be wrong. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. But he sounded amazing. Regardless of whatever it is, he could have played a toothpick. That thing sounded good. So I'm a fan. You know what I'm saying? So it matters, but it doesn't matter. Over time, as your ears adjust and you start to know what you like and you know what you prefer, like me, it depends on what I'm doing. If I'm playing more of my solo stuff, I prefer more of the boutique type instruments or like a Warrior or something. You know, it don't have to be a specific brand, but there's a specific type of feel that I want to play with. There's a specific type of tone that I'm after, and I can get a lot of stuff out of this Fender, but when I start writing and creating, there's certain things that I'm not really hearing with the Fender. I can do solos and stuff here, but I prefer a different sound. So you know what you want based on your own preferences. So it changes depending on the person. No shame here. Both of my basses are inexpensive and cheap. Listen, nothing wrong with it. Which fretboard is better for tropical climate, maple or rosewood? I'm not the guy for that question because I don't know. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I'll tell you, I'm not a technical guy. Maybe somebody that's on here that's a tech can tell you that, but I'm not your guy for that question. So I ain't going to even attempt to answer that. So I don't know. Flickerman, I just got a Jackson Spectre, which Spectra, I'm sorry, use and didn't realize it had an active pickup. But as a novice, just learning, should that matter to me? I'm just butchering how I'm reading your comment. I got what you're saying. As you're just learning, should that matter whether it's active or passive? It shouldn't. It really shouldn't. No, at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter. So Donnie says, never fam. Can you do another walking baseline video to Living He Loved Me by Donnie McClurkin? I don't know. I normally don't do a whole bunch of covers. I'm not saying I won't, but don't look for it this week. I'll just definitely say that. It's probably not going to happen this week. So I got bills, my brother. I got you, man. I got you. Yes, sir. Yes, it's a Fender, and he plays because they made of him. So hold on. Why can't I read this morning? Yes, it's a Fender, and he plays because they made of him. So he kept playing it to remind himself where he started. I got you. So yes, questions for basses, I can answer them. I am a tech freak. So direct your questions to Steven. Know your sound. He's the guy that knows. What do you think of Bass Mod's bass? They sound great. The ones I've heard sound really, really great. I'm going to play a little bit of this groove, and then we're going to go into our little discussion. Y'all are coming with it this morning with the comments. I'm loving it. I ain't mad at you. So we're going to play just a little bit more of this, and we'll go just for some latecomers that didn't hear the groove. We'll go into it. camera. What's up, Daniel? What's up, Angel? Thank you for hanging with me. I hear you, Charles. Never underestimate the power of riding the one on the drive. That always works. Listen, I haven't played quartet for a real group live in years. The only quartet I've played has been on records, on recordings. I produced a lot of quartet stuff, but I haven't played out with anybody in a long time. So yeah, getting your quartet endurance is something else. So anyway, real quick before I run out of time, I wanted to talk. He said, ride that one for sure. Listen, you can't go wrong on that one. People think you got to do some real super complicated bass line over a drive, over a quartet drive, and you really don't. You can ride that one and you are in there. I'm talking about, like the old folks say back in the day, you get house. You ride that one and it's like you hear this beat right here and you ride that one. That's all you need. Morning, Melvin. That's all you need. Because it really matters what all is going on around it. Like most of the time you have a guitar. You have like all that kind of stuff that's happening with the guitar player. So you don't really have to do a lot over the top of that when it comes to a quartet groove. So any of you guys that's interested in, oh, I forgot to mention, I do have a pack. I got a pack for everything. If you're trying to learn how to drive a car, I have a bass pack for that. Don't play with me, I'll make one. But no, I got a gospel quartet pack for any of you guys, seriously, who are wanting to know more about what I'm playing at gospel quartet. I didn't do this for that reason, but it just reminded me that I do have a pack available on my site under the gospel bass jam packs, or just bass jam packs. Sorry, you'll see it there if you go to jermainemorgan.net. Check out my courses. Bass jam packs is there. You'll see the gospel quartet. And there are like 6 different types of gospel grooves, some of them from old school all the way to a little bit more modern stuff to give you ideas. And I do show that context of just riding the one. So it's some stuff like that people don't know because, again, your culture, you might not have grew up playing that kind of stuff. I'm from Mississippi, Northeast Mississippi. It's like that's what we do around there. There's a group, the gospel tribute that you guys saw, the Gospel Warriors tribute that I did years ago. That group would come in there, and I always give props to my dude, being real, playing the bass. They would stomp you out of a building with that one, just riding the one, and that kick drum, boom, chop, boom, chop. They would like stomp the house down just with a simple drive. I don't care who just came in there and played. They give you that drive, and it's a wrap. You can wrap up your cables and put drums and everything else up once they finish, because there's no reason for anybody else to get up and do anything. And that's all of gospel quartet. So it's a fun genre. I have no shame at all in knowing that that's my roots. That's where I come from. And so, yeah. So anyway, Vic, Morning to you, man. Sounds great, sir. I'm running a little late, but have a great day. I was all good, man. Appreciate you being here. Those jam packs are great, Jermaine. Thank you, man. I really appreciate it, Anthony. I appreciate the support. Can you show me what your tone settings are on the bass? It's simple, basic settings right here that I have right now. I'm like volume. I mean, obviously that's not a tone setting, but with the pickups, I'm blending the front and the back pickup. Um, my highs and my lows are boosted, and my mids, depending on what I'm doing. Right then, that last time I played, my mids were probably sitting probably at, let's say, this is 12 o'clock. I'm trying to think because I'm looking at it backwards. It's probably sitting at about 3 o'clock, depending on how you're looking at it. So yeah, if that's the clock, this 12. I had the mid sitting at about 3, right? So yeah, that's the preamp setup on this particular bass. I don't know if your bass is the same way. So normally, depending on what I'm playing and what I'm playing, if I'm thumping, I roll the mids off a little bit. But most of the time, depending on, again, it all matters what I'm doing, because on some of the stuff that you heard on recent videos, I was going back and forth from thumping to finger tone, and I wasn't adjusting anything. It matters what I'm hearing in my ears. So right there, like my mids are sitting at 12 o'clock. But if I put the mids back to where they were, you can hear a lot more clarity, but it doesn't give you the scoop feel as much. I forgot what I was doing. Sometimes that can get the mid can get in the way, sometimes depending on what I'm going for. I think that's a little bit more cleaner on a recording, but when it comes to live, I might boost those mids a little bit more so it'll cut through just a little bit more. You can hear a little more clarity on what I'm playing. But on a record, I might cut the mids because I don't want it to be too in your face. I want you to hear it, but it to be like heard but not overbearing, if that makes any sense. So yeah. All right. Hopefully that answers, Bailey. Got you. All right. So moving in real quick. So my topic will have something to do with the title of this video. Just give me a few minutes to say this. So we're talking about seizing the moment. Seize the moment. I defined that. I did my little dictionary, my Google dictionary search of the word seize. Take hold of, suddenly and forcibly. Seize. And one of the things I noticed that, well, let me give you this. One of the things that brought that thought on for me to mention something about this to somebody today, and I'll try not to be long, is there's some things that I've had happen recently, and it's simply by having an idea and just taking action on that idea. Taking massive action on that idea. When the idea comes to my mind, just move on it. Even if you're not 100% clear on the idea. Directors, I see you. Good morning to you. But even if you're not completely clear on the idea, whatever that thing is, just move. Take some type of action towards it. Because how many things have you had come to you and you end up losing it, and it was such a great idea, and you put it off and say, you know what, I'm going to do that later. I'm going to get back to that because, yeah, I got to do this now. I got to focus on that now. And then that thing you're focusing on, in hindsight, didn't really matter that much. Like, it didn't matter in the next 5 months. It didn't matter in the next 5 years. But this thing that you had the idea for, had you done it, it could have set you up for the next 5 months or the next 5 years. And so I'm learning to start to seize the moment. If there's an idea right now, if somebody comes to mind, hey, you need to call such and such. take advantage of that moment. Seize the moment. I've talked about this on many other lives before. There's a friend of mine um, who was a recording artist that passed away. He and I was talking about recording music, and we talked for years about doing something together and just never done it. For whatever reason, stuff would come up, and we just kind of put it on the back burner. Truth be told, I was kind of waiting on him to do it. And I know he was trying to handle business correctly with me, so he was kind of waiting for the right time to do it. And I respected that, and I didn't try to force anything. But at the end of the day, I was so hurt when he passed away because, not because, hey, we didn't get to record nothing, but it's like, had I known that that was coming, like I would have just done it just to make sure we kept our word to what we say we were going to do. And just seeing what could have happened had this person and I like just sat down and recorded something, just see what could come of it. Even if it was if it wasn't a hit, it didn't do anything, but just to have that on wax that we actually recorded something and I got to work with them in the studio setting. But we didn't get to do that because we didn't seize the moment. We talked about it. And a lot of you guys have some great ideas, but you're not seizing the moment. You're not really taking full advantage of the opportunity. Sometimes you just have to keep showing up to fully take advantage of the moment. Because sometimes we get these ideas or we get these things to say somebody was trying to lose weight. And yeah, I'm gonna start tomorrow, and I'm gonna work on losing weight tomorrow. Well, won't you do it today? Well, I got it. You ain't got nothing. You're not that busy that you can't get down and do 10 push-ups because it doesn't really matter. Initially, it doesn't really matter how much you do. It just matters that you do something. It just matters that you do something. And 10 push-ups beat nothing. A whole what is it? A little bit of something beats a whole bunch of nothing. So sometimes just showing up is seizing the moment. I'm being fully present in what's going on. Here's the idea that I had. I know it's a really good thing that I should do. So why not do it now? Why not do it now? Yeah, I could plan and do all of this stuff to have a better outcome. And that's good. But at the end of the day, what if you don't get to pull off that plan because you're planning it for a month down the road and you're not here a month later? Or the people that you're planning on doing it with are not available a month later. There's so many different factors that could come into play that could affect what you're trying to put off. So seize the moment. Take the take the day by the leg right in the moment where you can, because tomorrow isn't promised. So you got to go ahead and do something right now with what you have because it's enough. As I've been working, my wife and I, as we've been working in this business, um, it's amazing to me the the resources that you have available to you. You got to do some digging. You got to really do some refining. You do have to make it better and keep improving and that kind of thing. But it's amazing to me what you can do with what you have in your hands. It's amazing to me what you can do with what you have in your hands. You probably couldn't have told me that I could sustain my family off the work of my own hands, meaning not necessarily going out and trying to get a job and work for somebody. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I had something in me that was sustainable for my family and what I'm trying to do. And I can scale it, meaning I can grow it. And it's not just the bass lessons because I have so many other parts of me that maybe you guys don't know about, maybe you do. But there's so many other areas that are scalable that I can continue to grow and continue to expand. But I have to keep taking steps, seizing every moment, taking advantage of every opportunity that's presented to me. That's the right one. And so I don't want to lead anybody astray by telling you to do any and everything that somebody presents to you. You have to make sure praying and make sure that you're taking advantage of the right opportunities. Let me read a few of these comments real quick. Donnie says, "What's that lick?" I'll come back to that. The tracks on them are killing. I love
to practice even more with them. Man, thank you so much, Stephen, for your support. Procrastination is a productivity killer. You're right about that. Procrastination will kill your productivity. One of the things I noticed, I ain't gonna say I noticed. We've all heard the story of the tortoise and the hare, right? The turtle and the rabbit for my country folks. The turtle and the rabbit. So I seen this video, and it's not the first time I've seen this type of video. That book is a good scenario about, just keep going and stay focused and don't get cocky and don't get overconfident and all this kind of stuff, what the book told us back in school. But I seen this race, and I'm sure some of you guys have seen it on social media and YouTube, and it's different scenarios, mean it's a different turtle, it's a different rabbit in each one of these videos. I've seen like 3 of them so far over the past few years. And one of the things I always notice is the turtle always wins in these videos. And I'm sitting here, I'm not blown away by it, but the thing about it is, one of the things I notice about the turtle is the turtle, once they put him and turn him loose, let him go, he keeps walking forward. He never looks around. He just keeps going in one direction, the direction towards the finish line. And he might not even know what the finish line is, but he keeps moving forward. Whereas the rabbit is getting distracted. He's turning around. Now, we all know the rabbit has the potential to beat the turtle 20 times over. All he got to do is hop up there. He can do the race 4 times before the turtle even get up there. But the rabbit is so distracted. He hops a little bit. Matter of fact, I seen one where the rabbit hopped almost to the finish line, turned around, looked at something, and started hopping back the other way. I'm like, this dude, And so it's like, it's so funny that you have all of this potential to do great things, but because you're so distracted, somebody that doesn't have half the talent that you have is winning. Somebody else that doesn't have half the talent that you have is winning at something that you're great at, and they are all right at it. You're great, and they're all right. I know it's all right. I'm country. So, you know what I'm saying? So it's like they're winning at something that you could be winning at, but because you keep getting distracted, I have to get myself all the time because, and I notice a lot of these traits. My wife and I was talking about my daughter. I noticed some of these traits in her. When something gets overwhelming for her, she has the tendency to get distracted and start looking around. Like I can walk in the room now. My wife has been working with him over the summer to make sure she's sweet with her math and that kind of thing, just to make sure she's getting a jump start on people in the class and making sure she knows so she doesn't struggle in it as much. And so I can walk in the room while she's working on something and she gets distracted, or the TV comes on, or her brother and sister comes downstairs and they're playing or something and she's immediately distracted. And I know the same thing for me. If I'm doing a lot, I'm out here working a lot. And if it's something and I feel like I'm overwhelmed, I'm over here. I'm on my phone. Or let me check social media. Ain't nobody called me. Let me check and see if they're just making up a reason to be on my phone because I'm overwhelmed. And I notice that I have a tendency to do that. I have a tendency to look for distraction when I'm overwhelmed. And so now I'm losing time. I'm losing productivity because I'm distracted with this or with something else. So a lot of times I have to talk to myself, Jay, come on, bro, put that phone down. Let's go. And then I get back to what it is I'm supposed to be doing. Mind you, I get a lot done in a day. But compared to what? Comparing to what other people get done or comparing to what I can get done? Like, no, you got to measure yourself against your own potential. It don't matter if you got 10 done and everybody else got 3 done, but your potential said you could have got 20 done. That means you're falling short of what you could do. It doesn't matter what everybody else can do. So make sure you measure yourself against your own potential. Donnie says facts. Tiffany says just move. Great word. The race, there you go. The race is not given to the swift. This is Vic. The race is not given to, well, I'm adding stuff too. You said the race ain't for the swift. It's for those who can sustain and stay focused. I like that. Absolutely. It's for those who can sustain and stay focused. Can you focus on the end goal long enough to finish what you set out to do? Can you? I mean, can you really focus on the end goal, whatever that end goal thing is? Can you be like that turtle or the tortoise for my proper people? Can you be like that
turtle and just keep going. Like the director says, just keep it going. Keep going until you actually reach the destination that you after. If you hadn't reached it yet, it means you need to keep walking. There was a day when I came out here this weekend, and I was having one of those days, like I didn't really know. You know, sometimes you're praying for direction from God to do certain things, and it's like, well, what do you do while you're waiting? You keep doing what you're supposed to do. So I came out here and I got active and I did something that I know that was productive while I was waiting on my answer or while I was waiting on further directions. Well, I know that I'm supposed to do this. The problem that we have, sometimes we pray about stuff. Well, I ask God what to do. I ask God to show me the way. Yeah, faith moves. A bass player friend of mine has a brand. I think we call him Swole Derek. I call him a friend. I've only met him one time. So if you're watching this, Derek, I ain't trying to act like we be hanging out and nothing like that. I'm just saying. But anyway, he has a brand that's called Faith Moves. And that's so true. We walk by faith. You do something. You take action when you actually have a belief that something will work, or you're believing God for an answer. You're believing for something and you're trusting that you're going to get. Well, what are you doing in the meantime while you're waiting on that thing to happen? You got to take some type of step towards the goal. Keep moving in the right direction. Maybe you don't know which door to open. Well, just keep walking. It'll come to you. Just keep walking, because guess what? If you go to the wrong one, you're going to find out a lot faster than just sitting here not doing anything. If I can, if I do something that's wrong, I'll find out a lot faster. That way I know, well, that door don't work. That ain't it. Well, let me go to the next one. You keep going. You keep going, and after a while, you get clarity on that thing. Now, there are times God will tell you, hey, just kind of chill out, stand still, wait. But I've learned, though, even in your waiting, you're still doing something. You might not be as busy as you would be had you been doing this thing here. That wait might mean don't take this thing over here that you think is an opportunity, but still stay busy on your work. There's something you can always do when it comes to your work, not your job. When it comes to your work, what you were born to do, there's something you can always do to improve it. You don't have a gig. Well, keep practicing. Nobody's called me this week for something to play, or, I don't have a gig this week. Well, keep learning music. If you're waiting for somebody to call you for a gig, get in the shed. I'm making it practical for you. Get in the shed, learn some new songs. Keep working on it. Well, I'm not playing these songs anywhere, but you're working on your ear. You're developing them. Because when you do get that song list, it's going to make it a lot easier for you to learn that material, because you've been working that muscle of learning and playing, and your hands have been working. So it's not like, I ain't played in a while, I got to dust my hands, all this stuff that I say all the time, even though I just played 2 days ago. So when I say I ain't played in a while, it's like a day ago. So, but you have to keep moving. You have to keep moving forward and just keep it going. I like that. You got to just keep it going. That's some country stuff I heard from Mississippi right there. You just got to keep it going, right? So anyway, I'm not going to beat a dead horse with that. I think y'all got the point. Just keep showing up. Just keep showing up and seize the moment, because tomorrow ain't promised. It's not guaranteed that your idea is going to be valid in 10 years. So why not move on it now while you're fresh, while these ideas are fresh? And by 10 years later, if you've moved on the idea now, you've refined over the each year you're refining. So in 10 years, you're not dated because you've been refining. But if you wait 10 years to get started, now you got to catch up, and you probably still dated, but you got to catch up. Whereas you could have been refining all of this time. You could have been kind of out in front of everything. There's nothing wrong with being ahead of your time. That means everybody else just got to catch up, versus you being behind the times. Now you got to catch up, right? So just keep it going. I'm going to keep saying that. Just keep it going. All right. So I'm going to go back while I'm waiting on somebody else to chime in before I jump off here, because I'm over time. But Donnie said, what was that lick? I think I played something along the lines of, I wasn't going to forget it, just a major pentatonic lick. That's all it was. And I started on the 5, 5, 6, 1. That's the line. That's what I played. That's it. A G major pentatonic. Uh, this fender definitely makes you work for it. I will say that. This bass makes you work for it. You're not gonna just sweep through these joints and you ain't been working. Like the fender makes you're gonna earn these licks. All right. So Charles says, "This blessed me today, man. I'm finna put my head down and keep it going. Come on here. You better keep it going. You gotta keep going." So I'll encourage you guys, because I know I do have a lot of bass players that's watching me this morning. If you're somewhere in your journey, um, and you feel like you're not getting anywhere, just keep going. Just keep going. Oftentimes, my wife gave me this analogy many, many years ago. She's like, "You're too close to the painting." And some of you guys have heard me say this before. You're way too close to the painting. Oftentimes, if you stand too close to a painting, you can see the brush strokes, or you might see a dot or something that looks like it's out of place because it's right there in your face. And it's like, man, what in the world is this? But if you begin to back up and you change your perspective, as you back up, the more and more you see this beautiful picture come alive. And the thing that happens with us as we're learning, as we're on our journey, as we're working, as we're trying to become better people, all of these different things, we're too close to us. We're too close to our own mistakes. We hear our own selves, and we're not able to give ourselves credit for what we've become. So when people give us compliments like, "Man, you sound great," you're right here. They're out here looking at you, and you're right here. And so you always got to respond with something negative, like, "Oh man, I ain't doing nothing," or I sound like trash." All this different types of stuff that we say. I don't know why we say it. We just do it. I call it false humility, and I've been guilty of it as well. But we say this stuff, and we're feeding ourselves this stuff because we're standing too close to the picture. We're standing too close to it. We need to back up and look at the full perspective. Now, that doesn't mean back up and get uh, arrogant about, "Look at me, look how great I." No, it doesn't mean that. But back up and get a different perspective so you can give yourself credit for what you've become. You give yourself credit for showing up. "Oh, you know what? I've been showing up. I've been trying to work on this, and I've been trying to improve that. And you know what? I do notice where my timing has gotten a little better. I do notice where the way I'm listening has started to change. No, I'm not playing every note right when I'm playing this groove, but now I'm catching more stuff, and I'm more aware when I'm making mistakes more than I was before. So even though I'm in these beginner stages, I can hear myself really improving. Maybe my hands hadn't got to the intermediate level, but my ears have. Or maybe my hands are at the intermediate level, but my ears are at the advanced level, and I can hear this stuff. Now, I don't use that as an excuse. I might not can do it, but I can hear it. I hear that all the time. That's great that you can hear it, but are you striving to be able to do it? Is it your goal to be able to do it, or is it just your goal to be able to tell other people when it's wrong? So you got to check that stuff too. You got to make sure that you check that stuff. Imposter syndrome is something a lot of us struggle with. Yeah, I mean, social media feeds that. Social media feeds that beast, I believe. And you just have to be careful not to feed into that stuff. It's easier said than done, but reaffirming yourself of who you are, looking at the progress that you make. One of the things I'd encourage my students to do a lot is to record themselves.
and go back and revisit those recordings. Like if you recorded yourself 6 months ago, record yourself today. Now go back and listen to that recording from 6 months ago. Do you sound better or worse? That's going to tell you the type of work you've been either putting in or the type of work you need to put in. You know what I'm saying? So it's not so much that you can continue to compare yourself to somebody else, but as I said earlier, compare yourself to your own potential. Yeah, they might be playing at 1,000 level, but your potential right now, not lifelong potential, but your potential right now within the next 3 months, I might be trying to get from a, a 5 to a 8. That's my potential. I can get to an 8. I have the potential to get up to an 8 on a scale of 1 to 10. I have the potential to get to an 8. Right now, if I'm being honest, I'm at a 5. So these are the steps I'm going to take over the next 1 month, 2 months, 3 months to get there. And what you'll find as you start taking steps, you'll get to a 10 like in a month time or a month or two. You'll get to the 10. While you're striving for the 8, you'll go above that because you're pushing and you're staying focused. You're like that turtle that you're staying on path of what you're looking for, the goal that you're after. You're staying on path to that thing, and you'll run right into that thing, over, exceedingly, abundantly above anything that you could actually think. You'll walk right into it simply by staying faithful to what it is you're supposed to be doing and not focusing on everybody else. And you'll look up, and the person you was looking up to, you didn't pass them. Like, wait a minute, how did that happen? Because you weren't focused on them. You was focusing on becoming the better version of you. If that person is presenting a great or excellent version of themselves, that's them. That's yeah. Or flip side of the situation, you may never get to the level of certain people. That has nothing to do with you, and that's not a representation of your playing. And I think that's hard for most people to understand because we think if somebody is in our field and they do what we do and they do it at an excellent level, then it's a reflection of us. No, it's not a reflection of us. They are a reflection of them, and you are a reflection of you. It is what it is. There's no competition out here. Other people may compare. That has nothing to do with you. How another player plays has absolutely nothing to do with you. How you play at your, at the top of your potential has everything to do with you playing or using the deck of hands that was dealt to you and playing them to the best of your ability. Got nothing to do with somebody else. It's all about you and the energy you put behind becoming the best version of who you are. And that's what matters at the end of the day. Because they don't need two of, let's use Victor Wooten, because he's, obviously one of the greatest. But they don't need two Victor Wootens. So people are not, if they are trying to measure me up against Victor Wooten, I will never be Victor Wooten, nor am I trying to be Victor Wooten. I admire his playing. I admire him as a person. But that's not my goal to be the next Victor Wooten because he was only born once. And that's not going to happen again. There's going to be some other great players that are going to come. There has already been some great players who have already came in our generation who are doing some amazing things. And that's those players. That's their identity. Once you figure out who you are, you start striving to be the best version of that, not what you think other people want you to be. The director says, just be you. Never compare yourself with anyone. I know that's easier said than done, but it's a daily thing we work towards, being the best version of us. Donnie says, awesome word, my brother. Is there a story behind the red guitar on the wall? That's a grown man, bro. Yeah, it's that was a gift. One of my mentors back in the day gave me that guitar. It's hanging on the wall. I got some guitar hangers in here. It's not necessarily a deep story or anything like that, but yeah, one of my mentors gave me that guitar. I was at ICC at the time playing for the choir, the gospel choir, and he told me to just kind of keep the guitar, and I ended up keeping the guitar probably like 5 years. And it wasn't none of that 5-finger discount stuff either. Like, it wasn't like I'm dodging him, I won't give his guitar back. It's like, no, man, you just keep it. Like, you just hold on to it because I really liked it. I heard him play it. I really liked the guitar. I played it a couple times. Like, man, his guitar sounds good. And he was like, man, just hold on to it. I kept it for a minute, and one day he just hit me up like, Jermaine, you can have that guitar. Like, that's yours, man. It's technically, it's already been yours.
but I'm officially making it yours so you can have it. So yeah, a good friend of mine, a good mentor of mine gave me that guitar many, many years ago. And so that I've had that guitar at least 20 years. My wife and I was going through some of my stuff around here. I'm like, you know what? I didn't have my gear a while. Like I need to upgrade some stuff because I've had this stuff for a while. But yeah, that guitar has been with me for about 20 years. Boy, I swear you talking to me, Doc. Thanks for the motivation, my brother. DJ, that's what it's about, man. I hope to help you with these things that I share. And that's my whole point of getting up and sharing with you guys in the morning. I wouldn't get on here to waste your time, nor would I want to waste my own. But that's just something we just have to keep showing up. Just keep showing up, seizing the moment, taking advantage of the opportunities that are for us. Now, there are some stuff that's presented to you that you need to let it pass. Like, that ain't for me. But there are some things that you know that you're supposed to be doing. It comes to you and you sleep on it because you don't think it's that big a deal. Or you think other people aren't that interested in it. I've started to learn over the years, especially as an entrepreneur, just because it's not yet popular doesn't mean it won't work. Listen, I know that sounds really simple, but if you can grasp that as an entrepreneur, you'll do well. You'll start to do well. You'll start to like really pave some roads for yourself or to blaze some trails, if you will, for yourself. Just because it's not popular don't mean it's not a good idea. Don't mean it won't become a really, really great thing. It's like Jordans weren't popular before they became popular. Sounds like a little riddle, but it's the truth. They weren't popular before they became popular. Any of the things that we do or any things we're using now, they weren't a thing until they became a thing. Somebody had to do it and make it something that people wanted or get it to the right audience. And then it became a thing that was like a quote unquote a trend. I don't know if I want a trend because trends come and go. I want something that's going to sustain. I want something that's going to outlive me. So I know if I add enough value, if I go to finding it, here's the key to it. Find a problem and solve it within the means of what you do. Something that you do really well. Find a problem that you can solve with that thing that you do really well and go after that. Go after that thing and watch what happens. That's my time. Thank you. Thank you guys for joining me this morning for Grooves and Motivation Live. I'm Jermaine Morgan. If you hadn't subscribed to this channel, be sure to click that subscribe button, turn on my bell notifications, and go to my website and buy up everything. Everything you can find on it. Just go buy everything. So, JermaineMorgan.net for you guys who are not familiar with me is all kind of resources there. I do more than just bass lessons. I do coaching, bass coaching or personal coaching, that kind of thing, as well as I do consulting for bands and groups. If you want me to consult with your group or your band, you can contact me. You can send me an email at jermaine@jermainemorgan.net, right? I come and do in-person visits and all that stuff as well. So, yeah, again, go and buy everything. Go and support everything. Jermaine Betton. I like your name, man. That's a good name, Jermaine. I know that's terrible. All right, so keep this going, my bro. Keep this going, bro. Just started my bass journey, and I love it. Any exercise should I incorporate? Just anything you can get your hands on. I wouldn't leave nothing out. Just keep working, right? I'm a t-shirt fanatic. What's on your t-shirt? All right, so I said this at the beginning, and you came in a little late, but I'll let you slide. It's all good. So this is the Give More brand. Some friends of mine, some really good friends of me and my wife started this brand, and that's literally it. It's called Give More. Like we're saying, give more help, give more peace, give more thought, give more understanding, give more care, give more effort. All that kind of stuff is literally promoting, good energy, good vibes, all that kind of stuff. And you can find them at, I think, thegivemorebrand.com. So yeah, be sure to check them out if you guys are interested in this shirt. And yeah, for you other latecomers that don't know anything about this strap that I'm using, this is my strap. This is, and I don't mean mine like I bought it, I paid. No, I mean like this is my signature custom strap, designed by Evo, and these are available on my website for you guys who want your own custom JM signature strap. You can see this logo, the same logo that's in the corner there, and so they are double sided. They handmade leather straps, and yeah, you can have your very own. They're on my website. Check out the shop page. So anyway, I think that's enough promotion for today. I gotta tell y'all, because if I don't tell you, you're not gonna go look on your own. So I gotta tell you to go and look, right? So anyway, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you. P. Lee says, I really needed this today. Thank you, man. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Team Ramrod, good morning, Jermaine and viewers. God bless you. Listen, I'm gone for real this time. Thank y'all so much for hanging out and having church with me as we did our quartet drives and all that kind of stuff this morning. Thank y'all so much. Listen, I'll catch y'all on next week. Much love to you. Thank you. Appreciate it, Tiffany. Peace.